Chaos is about to rip through Genoa City in a way no one saw coming. Just when Victor Newman thinks he's crushing every thread in his path, a shocking twist blindsides the mighty patriarch. A scheme brewing in the shadows explodes into devastation when Dominic Newman Abbott Winter's chancellor suddenly vanishes without a trace. Devon and Abby's world shatters in an instant, and the entire Newman clan is thrown into panic. But the most staggering part isn't the kidnapping itself, it's who's behind it. Matt Clark, now living under the slick alias Mitch Bacall, has been quietly studying the Newmans, waiting, calculating, choosing his target with surgical precision. And instead of going after Victor directly, Matt finds the one weak spot the great Newman Empire forgot to protect: little Dominic. As Devon spirals and Abby's panic turns into fury, Victor realizes too late that his enemy found the perfect leverage. And while Noah, Sharon, Nick, Sienna, Holden, Claire, Kane, Lily, and Phyllis all find themselves tangled in their own exploding dramas, one terrifying question dominates the entire canvas of Genoa City. If Matt Clark can snatch Victor's grandchild right out from under them, what won't he do next? The answer may destroy more than one family. The walls of Genoa City are beginning to tremble as the young and the restless gears up for one of its most high-stakes storylines in years. A storyline centered on a vulnerable child, a furious patriarch, and a villain bent on reclaiming the power he believes was stolen from him. At the heart of the chaos is Dominic Newman Abbott Winter's chancellor, a child beloved by many but perhaps overlooked by the audience of enemies watching the Newman family. Now, that oversight could prove devastating as Matt Clark appears ready to unleash a scheme Victor Newman never anticipated. The trouble begins when subtle warnings ripple through Devon Winter's life. Someone close to him, the spoilers tease, will soon face danger. At first, no one imagines Dominic could be the target. After all, the Newman clan is used to protecting its most high-profile adults. But Dominic's comparatively quiet life with Abby and Devon offers Matt something irresistible: a soft spot in the Newman armor. Dominic attends regular events, moves through ordinary spaces, and doesn't live under ranch-level surveillance. For a man like Matt, who thrives on exploiting blind spots, Dominic becomes the perfect strategic advantage. Victor Newman's feud with Matt reaches a boiling point the moment Victor leaves the man financially ruined. Matt, humiliated and determined to regain the upper hand, realizes money isn't the real weapon in Genoa City. Fear is. And few things terrify Victor more than a threat to one of his grandchildren. With revenge clouding his judgment and desperation pushing him toward extremes, Matt settles on a chilling decision. Stealing Dominic gives him something no amount of money ever could: control over Victor Newman's next move. The emotional nucleus of the storyline rests with Devon and Abby. Their marriage, already set to face turbulence, is handed an impossible test. Devon is the first to point fingers, and the direction of that blame could crack the relationship wide open. Devon loves Abby, but the fury he feels toward Victor, who provoked Matt in the first place, creates new divisions. Abby, desperate to keep her family intact, insists Matt alone bears responsibility for any danger Dominic faces. But Devon, fiercely protective of their son, refuses to ignore how Victor's manipulation triggered Matt's rage. The emotional fallout intensifies when Dominic's recital suddenly becomes central to the unfolding nightmare. Recent episodes mention the upcoming event, which now appears to have been foreshadowing. Public venues, backstage chaos, doors left ajar, and crowds milling through hallways create the perfect cover for a kidnapper who knows how to blend in. Matt, a master of disguise and psychological manipulation, could easily position himself as a helpful stranger, a stagehand, or even someone Dominic recognizes briefly from a harmless encounter. The idea that he might lure the child away by building momentary trust makes the scheme even more chilling. Meanwhile, Victor is oblivious. And that's exactly why Matt targets Dominic, because the patriarch assumes his enemies would never go after a child. Victor has spent decades fortifying the Newman name against adult betrayal, corporate espionage, and personal vendettas. But children? That's a category of threat Victor rarely considers. Matt knows it. Matt exploits it. And the Newmans are left scrambling once they realize the unthinkable has happened. As Dominic's disappearance sets off alarms, the surrounding characters find their own storylines colliding violently with the crisis. Sharon's anxiety around Sienna's involvement with Noah escalates dramatically, intensified by the ongoing threat Matt poses. Sharon questions Sienna's feelings, motivations, and future plans, worried that her son is walking blindfolded into danger while chaos builds around them. The tense conversation between Sharon and Sienna further underscores how tangled the Matt situation is becoming. Every new move he makes ripples through multiple households, attaching itself to fears, past traumas, and unresolved conflicts. Claire's arrival at Sharon's door heightens the unraveling tension. Claire, now deeply entangled with Holden and Audra's explosive history, stumbles onto more pieces of the puzzle involving Sienna's knowledge of stolen wallets, cashed checks, and Matt's questionable deals. Each revelation paints a clearer picture. Matt has been quietly pulling strings in multiple directions long before the kidnapping. And if he's willing to manipulate adults with this level of precision, it's not difficult to imagine how he could orchestrate Dominic's abduction. In contrast, Nick Newman steps into protector mode. Nick taking charge is no surprise, but the stakes rise when he considers whether Sharon and Christian might need to relocate for safety. Nick's instincts are razor sharp. He knows Matt is unpredictable, unhinged, and intelligent. The idea that Matt could target Dominic means no Newman is safe. Nick wrestles with whether to move to the ranch, increase security, or physically insert himself into Sharon's daily life to shield her. It's a move that could open old wounds or spark new romantic tension, depending on how the storyline evolves. Meanwhile, Noah desperately tries to convince Sienna to stay in town, determined to protect her and ensure Matt can't corner her again. Sienna, however, considers fleeing Genoa City for her own safety. Her emotional conflict underscores the storyline's power. When fear grips the characters, rational decisions become difficult, relationships strain, and loyalties shift. Outside the Newman orbit, Kane and Lily's unexpected reconnection becomes a surprising bright spot amid the darkness. Lily's initial reluctance to entertain Kane's invitation softens, and their playful banter hints at rekindled chemistry. But even this light-hearted interlude is at risk of collapsing as soon as the news of Dominic's disappearance spreads. Kane and Lily may find their romantic detour swept aside by the wave of chaos engulfing the city. Phyllis, always eager to ignite sparks where none are needed, inserts herself into Kane and Lily's evening. Her presence ramps up the tension, diverting attention from the coming crisis, but also foreshadowing just how unstable everything in Genoa City has become. Even Nate's attempt to confide in Lily about his complicated emotions involving Victoria finds itself overshadowed by the approaching storm. But the storyline's centerpiece remains Matt's imminent act of terror. When Dominic vanishes, all plotlines converge. Every character with ties to the Winters, Chancellor, Abbott, and Newman families will be pulled into the frantic search. Victor's reaction will be explosive, and his rage may outstrip even his most ruthless past behavior. Devon may begin to spiral as fears for his son intensify. Abby, long overshadowed in the Newman legacy, finally becomes the emotional focal point as she grapples with guilt, grief, and terror. One of the most compelling elements is the way Dominic's kidnapping will force old grudges into the light. Every past conflict, every petty argument, every family divide suddenly becomes irrelevant when a child's life is at stake. Allies and enemies may find themselves working together. Secrets may surface under pressure. And Victor may be forced to confront the painful truth that he underestimated Matt Clark, a mistake that has now placed an innocent child in jeopardy. If Matt succeeds, the storyline will plunge Genoa City into a battle unlike anything the Newmans have faced in years. This isn't a corporate takeover, a romantic betrayal, or a political feud. It's a direct strike at the heart of the family, one that could reshape alliances, tear marriages apart, and propel Matt into the ranks of the show's most formidable villains. The looming question isn't just whether Dominic will be rescued, but how far Victor will go once he finds out who took his grandson. And perhaps even more chilling, what if Matt has more planned than a simple kidnapping? As The Young and the Restless unfolds this intense, emotional storyline, viewers can expect shocking twists, raw confrontations, and a relentless search for answers. This isn't just the next chapter of the Newman saga, it's a turning point that will leave lasting scars. The Young and the Restless. Dominic's kidnapping horrifies Devon and Abby. Will Matt Clark snatch Victor's grandchild for leverage? The Young and the Restless appears to be laying the groundwork for one of the most shocking and emotionally devastating storylines the show has tackled in years. Rumors and spoilers hint that a major crisis is headed straight for Devon Winters and Abby Newman Abbott Winters Chancellor, and the heart of the drama centers on their son Dominic. With danger building around the Newman family and Matt Clark's revenge plot intensifying, Dominic may become an unexpected pawn in a dangerous game of retaliation that no one sees coming. If the storyline goes in the direction fans suspect, Genoa City may be facing a tragedy that shakes the entire Newman bloodline. The whispers began when teasers revealed that someone very close to Devon would soon face a life-threatening situation. When the words immediate family members surfaced in connection to the story, it didn't take long for viewers to start speculating about Dominic. As Devon and Abby's only child, Dominic is both their greatest joy and their deepest vulnerability. And with Matt Clark preparing to unleash his long game, targeting Dominic could become the ultimate power move, especially since hurting Victor through those he loves most has always been Matt's preferred strategy. Dominic's kidnapping would not only terrify Devon and Abby, but also expose fractures already forming in their marriage. The couple has managed to maintain a relatively stable relationship in recent months, but hints of upcoming turmoil suggest that the writers are preparing to test them in ways they've never experienced before. A missing child storyline would push both characters to their emotional limits, forcing them to confront old insecurities, resentments, and questions of trust that have lingered beneath the surface. One of the biggest tensions that could erupt involves the question of blame. Abby loves her father, but even she must admit that Victor often makes reckless decisions in the name of protecting his family. This time, Victor's own actions may directly place his grandson in harm's way. Victor destroyed Matt Clark financially and left him backed into a corner. That humiliation alone would have been enough to trigger retaliation, but Matt's simmering rage is fueled by something far more dangerous, a desire to make the Newmans suffer the way he believes he has suffered. Devon could easily view Victor's feud with Matt as the catalyst that puts Dominic in danger. If Devon believes Victor knowingly provoked a desperate and unstable man, then tension between Devon and Abby may escalate rapidly. Abby will likely argue that Matt is the only one responsible for any wrongdoing, while Devon may feel Victor created a ticking time bomb, and their son could pay the price. The stakes escalate further when examining Matt's motivations. After Victor ruined him, Matt vowed that the Newmans would never see his next move coming. For a man like Matt, unpredictable retaliation is his trademark. He studies weaknesses, exploits blind spots, and attacks emotional vulnerabilities. And unfortunately for Abby and Devon, Dominic represents an opportunity that Matt may view as too advantageous to ignore. Dominic does not live on the highly protected Newman ranch. His daily life, while loving and stable, is not watched over by the army of security guards typically assigned to higher-profile Newmans. This makes Dominic both accessible and unsuspecting, and Matt knows that seizing an opportunity like this would send Victor into an uncontrollable rage. To Matt, that would be the ultimate victory. Dominic's recent mention in the December 11th episode also feels meaningful in retrospect. The writers rarely reference a child's upcoming recital unless it holds narrative weight. The idea of Dominic performing at a public venue, surrounded by crowds and backstage chaos, creates the perfect environment for a kidnapping. Matt could easily blend in with the staff or appear as a friendly stranger. With children constantly moving back and forth between the stage, dressing rooms, and family seating, a clever villain could take advantage of overwhelming activity and slip away unnoticed. Dominic's small size and trusting nature make him vulnerable. If Matt manages to earn even a moment of Dominic's trust, perhaps by posing as someone working the event or pretending to know Abby or Devon, he could carry the child out of the building in seconds. This scenario would not only terrify the audience, but also catch Victor completely off guard. Victor prides himself on anticipating his enemies' moves, but kidnapping a grandchild is something he would never expect, especially one not currently under Newman protection. While the storyline builds, several other plot threads across Genoa City are developing in ways that may intersect with the kidnapping. The December 11th recap revealed a chain of events that could unravel into unexpected consequences. One of the most intriguing subplots involved Sharon Newman questioning Sienna Bacall about her feelings for Noah. Sharon's concern highlights just how deeply the Matt Clark threat is affecting everyone in Noah's orbit. Sienna is clearly frightened by Matt and unsure about whether she can stay in town safely. Her instinct is to run, but Noah refuses to let her leave. His protective nature mirrors Nick's, who also feels an increasing sense of urgency about shielding Sharon from potential attacks. Nick Newman's protective instincts may end up playing a crucial role once the kidnapping news breaks. Nick is already considering moving closer to Sharon for her safety, and if he believes Matt is bold enough to kidnap a child, Nick will put his full focus into hunting Matt down. His determination may become one of the story's driving forces, especially if Victor, Abby, and Devin begin to splinter under emotional pressure. Meanwhile, Claire Newman continues her search for the truth regarding Audra and Holden's hidden history. Claire's determination to uncover what really happened between the two could link to Matt's schemes more deeply than viewers expect. Claire's confrontation with Sienna, where Sienna admitted to knowing more than she initially let on, suggests that Matt has far more secrets tied to the Los Angeles past than anyone realizes. Sienna's hints about worse things happening behind the scenes imply that Matt's criminal activities might extend far beyond simple revenge. If he's wrapped up in deeper corruption, then Dominic's kidnapping could be part of a broader plan. Holden's warning to Audra also sets the stage for dangerous fallout. His refusal to go down with her if she targets Claire again shows that alliances are beginning to fracture. The more characters break ties, the fewer people Matt has holding him accountable. That distance gives Matt room to escalate his behavior with no allies preventing him from crossing lines he might have avoided otherwise. At the same time, Kane and Lily are beginning to reconnect just as chaos looms over the city. Their storyline currently acts as a rare moment of levity, but that peace won't last long. As soon as Dominic disappears, Kane and Lily will likely be pulled into the emotional fallout, especially because Lily remains so close to Devin. Their reawakening dynamic could strengthen or shatter depending on how Lily chooses to support Devin during the crisis. It's also worth noting the growing distance between Devin and Lily due to her personal drama with Kane. If Devin becomes overwhelmed by grief and fear, he may lash out at the people closest to him, including family members who make decisions he doesn't agree with. Abby may become an easy target, but Lily could also find herself caught in the emotional crossfire. This could send her running back toward the safety and comfort of Kane, or it could reignite tensions just as quickly. Another layer of complexity comes from Nate's emerging romance with Victoria Newman. Nate confided that he feels a renewed spark with Victoria, but fears moving too fast while she grieves Cole. The kidnapping storyline could become the catalyst that either strengthens Nate and Victoria's bond or pushes them apart. Victoria, already fragile from loss, may feel powerless as another Newman child disappears. Nate might step into a support role, deepening their emotional connection, but he may also fear becoming entangled in Newman drama once again. All these intersecting storylines feed into a single inevitable outcome. The kidnapping of Dominic will act as a turning point for dozens of characters. Victor's wrath will reach terrifying new levels. Abby's heart will break. Devin's trust in the Newman family may crumble completely. Nick will launch into full protective mode, perhaps even teaming up with Chance, Sharon, and others to track down Matt. Noah's desperation to protect Sienna may intensify. Claire's investigation may bring crucial clues to light, and the entire city will rally as a young child becomes the center of a high-stakes search. Dominic being taken is not just a story about a missing child. It's a story about the consequences of unchecked revenge, the fragility of family ties, and the devastating ripple effect that one man's vendetta can cause. It pits the Newmans against one of the most unpredictable villains they've ever faced, and this time, the target is an innocent child who symbolizes the legacy of multiple powerful families. The writers appear to be weaving a storyline filled with fear, anguish, fractured alliances, and eventual redemption. If Matt follows through with this plan, it could become one of the most emotionally gripping arcs in recent memory. Victor's retaliation alone would reshape the power structure in Genoa City. Abby and Devin's marriage could face irreversible damage, and the emotional scars left by the kidnapping would echo through the lives of every character connected to Dominic. With so many seeds being planted, the tension continues to build. Matt Clark has been quiet long enough, and the Newmans have underestimated him before. This time, they may realize far too late that Matt's rage is aimed directly at their youngest and most unprotected member. And once the news breaks, Nothing in Genoa City will ever be the same. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Friday, December 12th. Phyllis the drama queen. Nate's confession and Nick's bold move. The Young and the Restless promises a tense and chaotic Friday episode as several storylines collide, long-buried emotions resurface, and more characters find themselves pulled deeper into the growing storm surrounding Matt Clark's threat. While some residents of Genoa City attempt to enjoy a rare night of fun, others brace themselves for the fallout of dangerous decisions. From Phyllis's trademark theatrics to Nate's surprising confession and Nick's protective instincts kicking into overdrive, the upcoming episode sets the stage for major shifts in relationships, loyalties, and future battles. The drama kicks off with Kane Ashby riding high on the unexpected momentum he gains from Lily Winters agreeing to attend the Abbott Communications launch party with him. For Kane, this feels like the chance he's been waiting for. A chance to remind Lily of the connection they once shared, the spark that never fully faded, and the lighthearted fun they always fell into with ease. The possibilities feel endless for Kane, and the optimism surrounding the evening puts him in rare form. But in true Genoa City fashion, peace never lasts long. Phyllis Summers inserts herself into the festivities with her usual flair for stirring the pot. Phyllis's presence at the launch party creates immediate tension the moment she spots Kane and Lily together, laughing and reconnecting as if no time has passed. That sight alone is enough to send Phyllis into drama queen mode. And once she's provoked, she never holds back. Phyllis quickly disrupts the evening with digs, insults, and thinly veiled jabs meant to embarrass Kane and rattle Lily. She has a talent for finding the exact nerve to hit, and she wastes no time weaponizing her words. For Kane, who hoped the evening would go smoothly, Phyllis becomes a frustrating obstacle. However, despite her attempt to sabotage the mood, Kane manages to recalibrate, refusing to allow Phyllis to steal his moment with Lily entirely. His determination to enjoy the night, and perhaps rekindle something real with Lily, could pay off if he handles things carefully. Meanwhile, Lily turns her attention toward her cousin Nate Hastings, who is clearly wrestling with something beneath the surface. Nate has been trying to navigate the aftermath of his complicated history with Audra Charles, a situation packed with regret, missteps, and lingering tension. Lily, sensing his inner conflict, presses gently, hoping Nate has finally cut emotional ties with Audra for good. Nate confirms that he is done with that chapter of his life, but the truth he reveals next is far more significant. He confesses to Lily that he feels a familiar spark reigniting between himself and Victoria Newman. Though their past relationship ended in a storm of betrayal and mistrust, time and grief have changed them both. Nate admits that the comfort, connection, and emotional pull he once shared with Victoria has resurfaced, leaving him conflicted about how to move forward. Victoria recently suffered a painful loss with the death of Cole Howard, and Nate is deeply aware of her vulnerability. The last thing he wants is to appear insensitive or opportunistic. He worries about whether pursuing a renewed romantic relationship would help Victoria heal or unintentionally deepen her wounds. Lily, ever the voice of reason, reassures him that time will provide the clarity he needs and suggests that the spark between them might be exactly what both need to move toward a healthier future. Still, Nate's uncertainty illuminates an internal struggle that is far from resolved. Elsewhere in town, Noah Newman faces a crisis of his own as Sienna Bacall attempts to leave Genoa City. Sienna, shaken by the escalating danger surrounding Matt Clark, decides it may be safest for her to disappear before Matt pulls her further into his schemes or retaliation. But Noah refuses to accept that. He insists that leaving will only make her more vulnerable, not less. Noah's protective instincts intensify as he tries to convince Sienna that staying close, not running, is the best way to face the situation. Noah's determination says a great deal about his emotional investment in Sienna, which complicates things further for the Newman family. With Matt's shadow growing across Genoa City, Noah's choice to keep Sienna close could put him at direct odds with his father and could pull him even deeper into danger. Whether Sienna ultimately stays or goes may shape the next phase of their relationship and determine whether Noah's protective nature is a strength or a flaw that blinds him to the risks ahead. Meanwhile, Nick Newman becomes increasingly alarmed as the threat against Sharon intensifies. Matt Clark has already proven that he is unpredictable and capable of violence, And Nick fears Sharon may become a target as Matt escalates his vendetta against the Newmans. Nick's concern grows to the point where he begins considering drastic measures. One of those possibilities involves moving into Sharon's cottage with Christian, or at least ensuring that Sharon and Christian relocate temporarily to the Newman ranch, where security is much tighter. Nick is thinking strategically, knowing that the closer he is to Sharon, the quicker he can respond if Matt makes a move. Sharon may resist the idea, but Nick's instincts tend to be accurate when it comes to looming threats, and he refuses to downplay the danger. The episode highlights Nick's willingness to do whatever it takes to protect his loved ones. For him, Matt has moved far beyond the boundaries of a typical antagonist. This is personal. Sharon's safety is non-negotiable, and Nick will put himself in the line of fire before he lets anything happen to her. The decisions he makes in these upcoming episodes could trigger major shifts in family dynamics, especially as Victor, Abby, Devon, and Noah all begin to realize that Matt is becoming a threat to the entire Newman circle, not just one or two people. As the credits begin to roll on Friday's episode, viewers will see the stage set for escalating chaos. Phyllis fans will enjoy watching her stir trouble, Nate fans will get the emotional honesty they've been waiting for, and Nick's storyline will inch closer to explosive confrontations that could shake multiple families. The Young and the Restless continues to layer intense interpersonal drama with growing danger, ensuring that the Matt Clark storyline is only just beginning its most powerful and destructive phase. With relationships evolving, tensions rising, and new threats emerging, this episode is a critical turning point that prepares Genoa City for the fallout still to come. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Is Sienna doomed to be killed off? A casualty of Matt's revenge? The Young and the Restless. YNR. Spoilers hint that Sienna Bacall, Tamara Braun, may be heading toward a tragic, possibly fatal fate as Matt Clark aka Mitch Bacall, Roger Howarth, prepares his revenge. Although Genoa City is already bracing for turmoil, the question now becomes, is Sienna the character most likely to pay the ultimate price? With the storyline fast-tracking toward an explosive climax, it's becoming increasingly clear that the walls are closing in on Sienna, and that Matt's anger may be far more lethal than anyone realizes. Below is an in-depth breakdown of how the story is unfolding and why Sienna might be doomed. Noah's promises are setting up a tragedy. Noah Newman, Lucas Adams, has repeatedly promised that he will keep Sienna safe, but viewers know that in soap territory, heavy emphasis on protection usually foreshadows the opposite. The more Noah insists he can shield Sienna from danger, the clearer it becomes that he may be the reason she ends up right in harm's way. Noah's decision to bring Sienna into the heart of Newman territory, a family known for attracting enemies, violence, and revenge, already feels like a massive narrative red flag. Instead of protecting her, he might have unknowingly placed her on Matt's radar again. In typical YNR fashion, this kind of confidence from a character often precedes tragedy. Genoa City, the worst place Sienna could be. When Victor Newman, Eric Braden, told Sienna to leave town and warned she could become collateral damage, it wasn't empty advice. What Sienna failed to consider is that Genoa City is the very center of Matt's revenge mission. It is the one place where she absolutely should not be. Had she fled across the country, or even out of the country, Matt might have backed off long enough to direct his rage entirely at Victor. But Sienna staying in Genoa City, living with a Newman, protected by Newman guards, and seen frequenting Newman headquarters? She is essentially walking directly into the storm, not away from it. Matt's rage is not just business, it's personal. Victor's destruction of Matt's nightclub and finances is only part of the story. The deeper layer, and the more dangerous one, is Matt's emotional fury over Sienna's betrayal. Just like his past as a jealous, obsessive partner in previous storylines, Matt is being rewritten as a man whose unhealed rage is boiling over. He already accused Sienna of ruining his life. He believes her affair with Noah destroyed everything he had. Now that Sienna is openly in Noah's orbit and appearing increasingly comfortable within the Newman safety net, Matt will feel that the two of them are rewarded for their betrayal, while he is left with nothing. This emotional spiral is the very reason soaps kill off secondary characters, to escalate a villain's path, ignite new feuds, and push long-term characters, like Noah and Nick, into darker storylines. Why Sienna may be the perfect fatality candidate. Soap operas rarely kill off core legacy characters, but they often eliminate new characters with limited ties, characters introduced for short-term arcs, those connected to major villains, individuals used as emotional triggers for fan-favorite characters. Sienna checks all of those boxes. She doesn't have deep-rooted ties in GC. She isn't integrated into a long-term storyline outside the Matt arc. She's emotionally attached to Noah, who is overdue for a major dramatic upheaval. And importantly, she already feels like an outsider, just as Damian Kane did when he was introduced and later killed off to intensify the stakes. Sienna might be serving the same function. Enter dramatically, ignite complications, and exit in a tragedy that fuels future storylines. Sienna feels like a misfit in GC, and that's intentional. In the December 10th episode, Sienna admitted she felt like an intruder among the Newmans. This wasn't just self-awareness, it was subtle foreshadowing. Characters who feel like they don't fit, express doubts about being in town, struggle to mesh with residents, are often the ones written out early. Sienna's entire presence seems transitional, as if she was designed specifically for the Matt storyline and not built for the long-term landscape of the show. Her discomfort reads like a warning from the writers. She is not meant to survive this chapter. Noah may be set up for a heartbreaking downward spiral. Y&R has not given Noah a major emotional breakdown in years. His romantic history has been a chain of unfinished arcs, heartbreaks, and unfulfilled potential. A shocking loss, especially one he blames himself for, could drive Noah into a darker era, perhaps one where he blames Victor for provoking Matt. He feels guilt for pulling Sienna deeper into the danger. He lashes out at Sharon, Nick, or family protectors. He becomes obsessed with revenge. This could be the catalyst needed to reshape Noah and push him into a more mature and layered storyline. Sienna's death could easily become the emotional turning point that the writers have been waiting to give him. Matt's revenge plot requires a shock value casualty. Y&R spoilers already reveal that Matt is preparing a revenge scheme the Newmans won't see coming. Writers often use shock deaths at the midpoint or climax of such arcs to re-establish the villain as a real threat, prove the danger is serious, force the heroes to fight back, create emotional fallout across multiple families. Right now, Matt needs a move that will push the storyline from dangerous to devastating. The kidnapping speculation around Dominic is a possibility, but a child kidnapping typically leads to a rescue, not a fatality. Soaps rarely kill children. An adult character connected to the villain, however, that's a classic soap play. Sienna remains the most plausible and expendable target. Matt wants Noah to suffer, not just Victor. Matt may want revenge on Victor, but he has an entirely different kind of revenge in mind for Noah: emotional destruction. Matt has hinted he wants Noah to feel what he felt: betrayal, loss, devastation, and helplessness. The most effective way to inflict that kind of pain: force Noah to watch the consequences of his own choices unfold, especially if Matt believes Sienna's affair is what destroyed his life. Sienna isn't just leverage. She's the symbol of Matt's humiliation. In his eyes, eliminating her is a way to reclaim control and ensure Noah never feels peace again. Is Sienna being set up like past, temporary characters? Fans remember characters such as Damian Kane, Ashland Locke, post-mask reveal version, Ryder Callahan, Tony Viscardi. These characters served high-intensity arcs, and then were written out abruptly once the storyline needed a tragic turn. Y&R has a pattern of building up secondary characters only to eliminate them for dramatic effect, and Sienna fits that pattern perfectly. She came in fast, made a splash with a scandal, created tension, and is now involved in a Newman-centered war. Characters like that are not meant for longevity, they're meant for impact. Victor's warnings were more than just fatherly advice. Victor telling Noah and Sienna to cut ties wasn't just about protecting Noah. Victor seemed to know exactly what kind of man Matt really is and what he was capable of. Victor rarely warns people this intensely without good reason. And when characters ignore Victor's intuition, things go horribly wrong. Sienna staying in GC means she ignored Victor. She ignored her instincts. She ignored common sense. All of this makes it more likely that the writers plan to use her as the sacrificial lamb that proves Victor wasn't overreacting. The final clue: Sienna keeps talking about leaving town. Soap characters who constantly say, "Maybe I should go. Maybe I don't belong here. I don't want to cause more trouble," almost always end up staying and then getting caught in tragedy. This is classic foreshadowing. When characters prepare to leave town peacefully, the writers often flip the script by having them exit violently instead. Sienna's uncertainty about her place in GC is playing like a countdown clock. What could ultimately happen to Sienna? 3 possibilities. 1. Sienna is murdered by Matt in a final showdown. This is the most dramatic and soap-typical scenario. Matt could corner Sienna, take her hostage, or use her as bait to lure the Newmans. A failed rescue could end in tragedy. This would launch Matt into full villain mode, destroy Noah emotionally, enrage Nick and Sharon, send Victor into retaliatory overdrive. This feels like the ending the story is building toward. 2. Sienna sacrifices herself to protect Noah. If Matt goes after Noah, Sienna could step in to shield him. This would give her a heroic exit and redeem her for the affair storyline in viewers' eyes. It would also cement her as a tragic figure whose final act was saving the man she loved. 3. Sienna survives, but barely, and leaves GC for good. If Y&R doesn't want another on-screen death, they might write Sienna out by having her survive an attack but flee town afterward. This would still give Matt a dangerous victory, but allow the actress to return someday. However, this feels less likely based on the emotional buildup. Final prediction. Sienna is in serious danger and likely won't survive the arc. Everything in the storytelling, from foreshadowing to pacing to character positioning, strongly suggests that Sienna is being set up for elimination. Her death, or near death, would propel Matt into full villain status, launch a massive Newman war, transform Noah's trajectory, create fallout for Sharon, Nick and Victor, justify the next phase of a storyline. Sienna may not know it yet, but she is in the most dangerous place possible, the middle of a Newman vendetta and the heart of a vengeful ex-husband's rage. The Young and the Restless spoilers are pointing toward an explosive climax that may claim at least one character's life. Sienna Bacall appears to be the most logical and narratively impactful candidate. Whether she ends up murdered, sacrifices herself, or disappears in a cloud of tragedy, one thing is clear. Sienna's future in Genoa City looks grim, and Matt Clark's revenge is just getting started.